Scatology. This past Sunday, a few others and I at the Lincoln Park Zoo stood by and watched as an elephant shit and pissed at the same time. Most likely, it was the volume leaving his body all at once that had such an acute command on his audience, but it was not unlike respect that brought on such silence, as if and it only felt natural for all of us to applaud when he was done, building to a cheer, as if we were all slowly coming to terms with a language more ancient and lasting than words. As for what we were really thinking, I don't know. We were certainly impressed, but not to the point where we'll start keeping the bathroom door propped open for spouses. However, change was in the air of that great moment, where one saw proof that what is taken in is given back. And to see the elephant root and spread was not a cover-up act, but a reading of his daily map. And for all the shit that doesn't stink attitudes, consider Christ with his diaper and thorns. Who wouldn't shit? The crude nails, fear, and exhaustion. The human part prayed and left. And that, friends, is what's stinking us all to high heaven. This poem begins with an epigraph as well from, I was hanging out with my friend Josh Leopold in Chicago one night, and he said, trees are like people. It's not like you can just walk up to them and expect to get along. Monopoly, Toledo. I met Dave at Zebra Lounge in Chicago. His friend Brian was a ghost. He preferred the word haunting. He asked me, what's on your mind? He wanted to know if I feel like I have. I feel possessed to write insignificance. Blank-faced with what's left of the future, he said, genetically we have a clean slate. He said, I want you to read something. Leather notebook, a gratitude journal. Write a story. What's on your mind? Do you mean right this second, I asked? I'm trying to finish my book of poems. They will make a movie out of it someday. A system will be developed to live in text. We will stare out and place impressions. Don't tell anyone. You can make $1 million. He is doing a painting. Thoughts for $1. He has a patent number for each one to sell. He was upset I had heard this before. See, fuckers are already ripping me off. I could have mistaken what he meant. One is rich with insights about masturbation, but women drag the men by their hair in this one. I said, I feel like we're being watched. Downtown, a building was the fountainhead. I am listening to waking and discovering. Write a story. What's on your mind? Do you mean right this second, I asked? This whole conversation should be a movie. Brian makes art. Dave likes art. Dave buys art. Brian could tell I hadn't really read Rilke's letters. It was with some trepidation that I moved forward. Brian, being Brian, questions the theory of light. Genetically, we have a clean slate. He said, I want you to read something. Leather notebook, a gratitude journal. Every drink's $1, your 9th beer's free. I was looking at the nicotine, stained photos of the owner playing piano in a wig. James put his hand on me. Is $75 enough to leave my wife? Would Greece help if Canada went to war with Mexico? My beer was empty, and I had nothing to say. Who knows what to say? He told us to go home and study because our shoes were all wrong. The barmaid yelled at James. James Joyce got up and shook. He made his way to the door. All the signs of his life were there. Benet says Jasper Johns' work is his attempts at viewing familiar objects with a fresh vision. Benet says James Joyce's work was known for its revolutionary innovations in the art of the novel. His books were denounced as obscure, unintelligible, nonsensical, and obscene. This is the commodification of grief. I will try to express myself in some mode of life or art as freely as I can, using for my defense the only arms I allow myself to use, silence, exile, and cunning. I will not serve that in which I no longer believe. Living is teaching languages and doing clerical work. I am trying to finish my book of poems, and significance is on my mind again. Write a story, 3 gratitudes for what makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates vision for tomorrow. I said, I feel like we're being watched. They will make a movie out of it someday. Don't tell anyone. You could make $1 million. This whole conversation should be a movie. He said, I want you to read something. I feel possessed to write insignificance. If, genetically, we have a clean slate, then let love design us a wonderful new blueprint for the future. Brian is doing a painting, Thoughts for $1. He has a patent number for each one to sell. He said, I want you to read something. His books were denounced as obscure, unintelligible, nonsensical, and obscene, painting familiar objects with a fresh vision. Brian said, don't laugh. Toledo is an amazing place. Downtown, a building was the fountainhead. Silence, exile, and cunning. An architect of enormous conceit must justify his faith in the permanent values of honest design and 4 senses. 1, historical or literal. 2, allegorical. 3, moral. 4, anagogical. James Joyce still stares out of his impression as the bleak incense surges, cloud on cloud, voidward from the adoring waste of souls. Let's see. These are some new poems from my new manuscript. That was a long poem. How am I doing?
Yeah, some time.
Okay. This poem's called Broken Rib. I don't want to have my picture taken reading porn on a toilet, masturbating for America at a dump in a hazmat suit. But before the day is done, it may come down to people walking straight up to me in order to say, I don't know what's wrong with you, but it shows. And I will want to curl up into a ball until I become nothingness and say, I'm not much, but I'm all I think about. After Maleka got out of the shower, I did manage to write down the date and time. She said, every time I put on deodorant, it just makes me laugh. Below that, Tracy called after she'd got drunk and fucked a stranger. I did not want to come home and be with you. I admitted it all over the phone to Sarah in Chicago, who's got God tattooed in Sanskrit just below her left breast. When it was about time, I told her, I no longer comprehend the meaning of joy, but I can still sense a tenderness forming in the shadows of your oranges. Twice she quoted her favorite line of the Gita, I am time grown old to destroy the world. I told her a girl from Toronto emailed today to tell me her legs were famous in Japan. Sideshow and Tell. 3 of us sat down at a table with a redhead and a brunette. Nothing was being said, so Patrick, being Patrick, let them know I have 4 toes on each foot. After a silence, the redhead said, and I have 1 leg, as if we were pulling it. So I pulled off my boots and socks and said, see, to prove it. What felt soon must have been later. The brunette was upset and left, and Patrick and what's-his-name went their separate ways alone. Dancing by the pool table with a plaid skirt on, the redhead, whose name starts with an E, wanted me to go home with her. She leaned into me and said, you couldn't write anything more stupid than this, you know. Yes, was everything I could say, but I was thinking, I love her with all my heart. Back at her studio, I got undressed and a little freaked out by her collection of antique robots from the 50s. But she was on her bed on the floor, peeling off her pantyhose, and I poured us each a glass of water. I walked one over to her as she took off her left leg and leaned it against the radiator until morning.